Hello, and welcome to CR Wrestling Commentary. Your host, Cedric Kennedy, and today I'm going to give my thoughts on Kenny Omega and the Wrestling Hall of Fame. This is the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame thing, mainly. But it's not just about Kenny Omega, it's about everybody. There's a thing that's missing when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Standards. Kenny Omega doesn't suit the standards of the Wrestling Hall of Fame in general. He hasn't been around long enough. He hasn't had many important fights, and the bouts that he's had, the fights, the matches, he's never been in charge of them. I want y'all to think about that. He's going to be in the Hall. He has a chance of being in the Hall of Fame, but he's never controlled a match. When I say control a match, that means the ring generalship. That means the veteran, the guy that knows what they're doing, and they guide the people during the match to make the match come out looking good. You know, professional. Now, I know some of y'all might disagree, and that's fine. If you disagree, let me know where and why and whatnot, and that's all good. But you can't say Kenny Omega needs to be in the Wrestling Hall of Fame simply because you like him. You know, I mean, you can't do that. I like chicken nuggets, but they don't need to be in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Kenny Omega can't wrestle. That's first and foremost. So look, yeah, I know I made an assertion. That probably rile people up, make you want to hit the dislike, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to just be straight up honest and true about this. Professional wrestling used to be guarded, protected. Why? Because the idea is to get you to believe in it so much you want to pay for it, watch it, go home and talk about it, and then come to the next show. Buy merchandise was kind of secondary, but it became a thing. So, protecting the business was the utmost thing to do. Do you understand that? Why was protecting the business important? Because there are hundreds and hundreds of wrestlers that feed their family based on professional wrestling. If you find out how the magicians do their tricks and then you can do it at home, then what makes you go and see that magician? Well, they would have to do something new, wouldn't they? And they have to figure that out. So, you know, the mystery is what you'd be going for. Here's the thing. There's standards missing in professional wrestling. There's standards missing. So if you're going to be in the Hall of Fame, one, you never have to break the code, no matter how many people know what's going on. You still don't break that code. You don't expose the business. So basically, Kenny Omega has exposed the business on countless occasions. That should disqualify him. He's literally a part of the people that ruined the lives of so many others. And he doesn't care. Just like Vince Russo. Just like the Young Bucks. You know, just like Vince McMahon. They don't care how they expose the business. They just want their own personal fame, no matter how many lives they destroy. There's no point for that person being in the Hall of Fame. I'm surprised they haven't been lynched, just to be honest with you. Lynched. So what's missing in this are standards. So what would good standards be? Well, number one, does this person know how to wrestle? That should be the very first standard. Do they know how to wrestle? That means a headlock, chin lock, a rear sleeper hold, side sleeper hold. You know, do they know the basics? You know the basics? You know, standard shoulder arm lock, twisting wrist lock, arm wringer, stuff like that. Achilles stretch. You know, do they know how to be professional Do they know how to have the basics to control an entire match? Are they safe in the ring? That's just the personal stuff, because someone's trusting you to take care of them. Okay, so let's go. Basically, Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame used to be based on, were you good in that ring? Did you put butts in the seat? Did you draw lots and lots of money? Were you, and this was also important, were you influential in the wrestling world? Were people getting into wrestling just because they loved you? They wanted to be you. Were you someone that, let's say you didn't draw anyone specifically. Sorry, my voice is still kind of messed up. Were you someone that didn't necessarily draw people, but people wanted to see you? Did they want to see you? Did they want to, like for example, the Steiner brothers versus the Road Warriors, grand marquee match, right? Okay. Steiner brothers versus, John David and David Bentley. Okay. Those two guys, they're not going to do anything. But what if those two guys stayed in that company, built a name, changed their names to something else, became a refined tag team, never drew great money, but were standard? They were right there. So they could always have a good match. And occasionally, every once in a blue moon, eke out that surprise win. They didn't necessarily, what they weren't on the marquee, they weren't big money drawers, but people wanted to see them. See, those are the ones that would still go into the Hall of Fame. So can you wrestle? Do you draw money? Are you influential? Did people want to come see you? Did you have some kind of impact on professional wrestling in general? These are the basic standards. I'm not even going to go into the other stuff. These are just basic standards from the outside looking in. I don't want to go into the other stuff. I just want it from a general fan's point of view, and a fan's point of view that know a little bit of the inside and whatnot. I would think if you have those standards and you have them, maybe you got a list of 12, maybe 14 standards. That's just, in general. If the wrestler or the person can't fit it, they don't need to be in the Hall of Fame. There might have been someone that always did the job, always helped their opponent look good, but they never got notoriety. That person should go into the Hall of Fame. Like the Brooklyn Brawler, Barry Horowitz, people like that. People that no one think about. But without them, their opponents you wouldn't have been able to see what they could do. They wouldn't have been able to bring out, they were trainers, or they were just that guy that did the job and did it well. Consistently, professionally, no problems. Bring them in, help the opponent look good. Those guys help a ton. And I think they should be recognized. That's what I'm saying. So, like, for people that might be annoyed with me and say, well, Kenny Omega, he did have those stupid level star matches with Okada. Let me tell you something. Kenny Omega only knows how to go 1,000 miles a minute because that's all he's ever done. Basically, he's like the Ultimate Warrior, always running to the ring, but he's always running in the ring. Watch Omega's matches. How many times does he catch a headlock? How many times does he do an arm drag and wear him down? Something like that. An arm drag that's that kneeling straight arm bar or shoulder hold. How often does he wear an opponent down? Do you ever see him do wear down holds, wear down moves? Does he control and dictate the pace? No, that was Okada the whole time. Okada could have worked with anybody and had a 5-star match on that stage. He could have worked with me and had a 5-star match. The only reason people give Kenny Omega all those stars, okay, is because they love Kenny. They love that indie gimmick crap, and that was it. So Kenny come there, he's popular. Okada, he's popular. They wrestle. Okada dictates 100% of the match. Helped Kenny Omega look really good, best that he could anyway. I was bored with the match. I never got on my seat for the match. I just couldn't. I saw how it was going, and I was like, this guy isn't wrestling. He's just taking a beating, and then he'll make a comeback. Fresh, like he's never in pain, like he's never hurt. He doesn't know how to sell. He doesn't know how to do anything that a professional wrestler would know how to do. I couldn't put Kenny Omega in there at all. I wouldn't. You know, I just wouldn't. I couldn't. People that don't understand what professional wrestling is and how people, you know, used it to feed their family, they're never going to get this. They will never understand it. But those that have respect for professional wrestling or any profession and knows what it means if somebody comes in there and ruins it so nobody can work anymore, people that understand that, they'll get this. They will get this. I was going to make this short, but I figured I'd go about 10, 15 minutes. No, I'm not going to go Broadway. That would be 15 minutes and up. Nah, I'm not going to do Broadway. But yeah, Wrestling Hall of Fame, The Observer, or even WWE is just going to, I don't consider them a true Hall of Fame. I just can't. That's just Hall of Fame cosplay. Because it's so isolated. It's so esoteric. It's not about anything other than just them. It's ugh. And then they step out every once in a while only because of them buying WCW and thus having some licenses to certain things so they can induct other people and things like that. And it's just an award ceremony for, basically it's just clickbait. That's what the WWE Hall of Fame is. It's clickbait. I just can't see the importance of it. I just don't. The Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame has always been one of the biggest trademarks, always one of those marquee things. And putting someone like Kenny Omega, who's done more damage to the business and industry than help it, is to me, that will be one of the greatest black eyes and stains on the Hall of Fame. And I would really just feel embarrassed that he would be on the ballot. That's how I would feel. And I would think I couldn't vote this guy in even if I had a gun to my head. I don't know. I mean, you have a gun to your head. I mean, you know, is it loaded? Is it pointed at you? I mean, you got to ask those things. Okay, seriously. I just don't think it's worth it. He's not worth it. You know, if he learned to wrestle, he learned to be that ring general, you know, then okay, we got something going. But right now, no. He is not a good person to be in there. Now, there are people out there that might think, okay, well, what about certain other people? You know what? You want to know about certain people? Because I don't want to go Broadway. I got a minute left. If you want to know who I think would be and not be in there, hey, put up somebody that you think, okay? Comment section, say, what do you think about this person? I'll do something on it, all right? You put something down there and say, what do you think this person should be in the Hall of Fame? Link me to something that they've done, or just their name, and I can go and do an Ecosia search or Wikipedia, see what they're about, and then I can tell you if they should be in it or not. But I've seen Kenny Omega. I've watched Kenny Omega, and I've observed Kenny Omega. He shouldn't be in it. And there are a lot of people that shouldn't be in it that's around nowadays. So, with that said, this has been Cedric Kennedy for CR Wrestling Commentary. Thank you for listening, and good night, everyone.